Okay, so welcome to the wonderful world of arrays. This will just be the basics of arrays, and then we'll get into some more complicated things with arrays in a minute. But we'll start out with these basic arrays. So arrays are just lists of things. So you know in the past we've had to write loops that handle each individual element of a list, which turned out to be a little bit awkward. But in this unit, you're going to learn how to store all of that information in an array and how you access an array and what you can do with an array varies on what type of array it is. So here I've set up, this is from the document that you have in your packet. What I do is I set up an array of strings, and notice that there's 7 of them. Your computer starts counting at 0. And there's an array here of ints, so integer array, and a character array. And those are the examples that I'll be using. So when you want to declare an array, you have the variable type, that's like string or int or char, whatever. And then you have these brackets, the variable name, and of course the keyword new. And again, you have the variable type, and then the max num is what kind of makes arrays a little bit awkward unless you're using a certain type of array that we're going to talk about later. So you kind of have to know ahead of time the maximum number of elements that you're going to be storing in an array. So here's an example. This is a string array. I'm calling it name with a capital M, N. And I'm going to say that there's going to be a maximum of 20. So when I go and notice that the actual size of this array is only 7. I'm referring to the physical size of the array is 20. That means in the memory of my computer I have 20 like spots open for it, but the logical size, or the size that I'm actually using, is 7. So that would be the difference between those. Now if you want to get some information into array, the perfect way to do that is in a for loop. You're going to have to be really careful, because if you try to access a part of the array, like in this case 40, if it was only an array that had a physical size of 20, you would get that error that you're trying to access something out of the index of the array. So if you go to the first key in is called just basic array, and you'll see that in that program all I've done is I've set up a real basic array. It's a one-dimensional array. And in this program I did create a method. There's one method, or there's a couple methods, but this method is called aString. I didn't call it toString because I'm sending it an array, and so I don't want to override the toString method in this case. And then I also have a method called sort, and that's also going to take a array that's sent to it, and it's going to return a new array, hopefully the sorted array. And so I'm going to let you walk through that algorithm with your partner. But here, when I actually create my array of strings, I have several names that I've coded in here. And then I have an array of ints. They tie into each name. So for example, Seymour Code here has a grade of 98. I'm a Coder has a grade of 88. C++ has a grade of 87, and so on. So they are connected to each other. And that later on we're going to talk about how to use two-dimensional arrays, but right now they're just single arrays and they're connected with each other. And then you can see that I have some other code here that I'll get into in the next video. But here, I want you to look through this code, and I have some questions regarding this code about how I'm working with the array. So you can go through it and see what it does, and then when you're ready, watch the next video.